Hey, thanks for stopping in to We Called It. We have a fantastic show for you today with the NFL playoffs finally starting. We're going to cover things like why we love San Francisco as an underdog. Ken and I are going to get in a bit of... me, Ken, and Connor are all going to argue over the Rams versus Arizona. As a reminder, I'm Philip Call, writer at the Action Network, joined with Connor Lucas, a former college football receiver. How you doing, Connor?
Hey, Phil.
All
Good
right.
to see you.
All right, so like five seconds ago, we were just talking about how I introduced Connor as a former college receiver, and Ken recently got a question from a former roommate of his asking if Connor played football at Ohio State instead of
Probably did.
instead of Otterbein University. If Connor unfortunately wasn't 5'6", he probably could have played at Ohio State.
Basically, Ken's answer was the same version that Aaron Rodgers pulled on the immunization vaccination card. He said, yeah, he played in Columbus. Yeah, he was around there.
Exactly.
For everyone that doesn't know, which is probably like 90% of people in the world, Otterbein is 15 minutes north of Ohio State University. And lastly, Dr. Kenneth Call, who, in his short time with us, actually has been very successful. What are you, 5-3? Look at that, blowing our percentages away.
Yeah. It's just from listening to the podcast, guys. Thanks for keeping me on so far.
Started listening after week 4.
I was going to say, yeah, quick breakdown. Connor and I floating around 51 and 49% for season long. But since week 4, I'm 55%, Connor's 52%. And all that matters is that's profitable. So if you listen and took all of our bets, you made money. You're welcome. It's not about volume. It's just about, did you make money? And the answer is yes. Okay, so let's start off with loving on San Francisco versus Dallas. I think that's the first game of the playoffs too, right? That's Saturday, 4:30 window-ish. So I actually get to write on this game. I don't understand. Well, I guess I get it. Dallas being a favorite makes sense just because they've won more in their home, but San Fran's looked awesome. So I'll dig into more on that. But San Fran +3 is what we're all looking at. Connor, we'll start with you. Why you like San Fran?
Yeah, I think probably at the beginning of this show, I think if we started off with things where we were wrong about, Jimmy G was probably one of those ones where I was wrong about. Especially, this is not Matt Ryan hate all the way through the entirety of the season, and then you're like, hey, Matt Ryan, still Matt Ryan. I was right about that one. Carson Wentz, definitely still right about that one. Jimmy G was like, I think I was a little bit of a hater. Yeah, Jimmy G's not that good. He's not going to win you games. He's not going to lose you games. Well, he doesn't necessarily have to go out and win you games. Defense is actually pretty good, but he does in the fourth quarter perform really well. I think him and Matt Stafford, which is a whole different ball game, but he has a lot less turnovers than Matt Stafford. But he doesn't seem to lose games in the fourth. And I think that's really big. I think this is going to be close. I think this is last week. I'm not convinced that Dallas found it by playing all their starters versus, high school Philadelphia team that they played last week, including Gardner.
Just to remind you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Ken calls that one. And we also had these picks in before they decided on Friday, the Friday before the game. They were like, yeah, you know what? We're going to pull all our starters. Like everybody. You got every base guy who started on our practice squad ever is pulled up for.
Well, also, Dallas, I was expecting them at some point to pull their starters. Like, fourth quarter, at 35, maybe they could have benched some of their good players, but no, they had to jack it up to 56.
Here we go. Jerry Jones trying to be smarter than everyone and trying to get, I don't know, his whole thing about, got to get Dak Prescott back in the groove. Okay, that's awesome. Dak Prescott in a groove against a B team isn't going to do very much because maybe he'll get all that confidence up and then he's going to get smacked by Nick Bosa probably about first or second play of the game. And then all of a sudden now that didn't work. So I'm riding with San Francisco on this one. I still maybe even outright, but given the points, I'm still taking the points.
So, full disclosure, during the game last week, where the Saturday night Philly and Dallas are on, I text you guys and go, full disclosure, I don't hate Dak. Turns out they got a lot of hate in this group. But
it's just, does he deserve $75 million in 1 year? You know, those kind of questions.
Yes. My thing was, I don't love him, but I certainly don't. I do like both of these teams. Fortunate that they had to pair up one of the playoffs, but the main thing for me, it's Shanahan versus McCarthy, and I'm all in on that one for sure. I mean, Shanahan, I think he steps up to big games. I think that I'm just flat out, he's a better coach than McCarthy. The one thing, like devil's advocate, that scares me about this, now obviously I'm picking the 49ers here, but Dallas's pass game versus San Fran's pass defense, like they are very weak in the, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. I like Dr. Schultz myself, but again, don't hate Dak. There is an opportunity there for them to just go hot, go deep, go big, and burn the 49ers out. But I just don't think that Shanahan's going to let that happen. I think he's going to ride Elijah Mitchell and, oddly enough, Deebo Samuel running the ball, mainly short passes to Kittle, Samuel, Ayuk. And I think that it's going to be a close game, but I definitely have the 49ers in this.
Yeah, so adding on to that, I think the 49ers found their new quarterback going forward. I mean, Deebo Samuel runs the ball better than Trey Lance, and he throws the ball better than Jimmy G. He's the reason they won last week. But seriously, no, San Fran's team is just so good Shanahan's so good at creating opportunities for his players in space. And I know Trayvon Diggs is 11 interceptions or blah, blah, blah with all these wonderful stats, but he gets burned so badly by double moves and trying to jump plays. And all San Fran has is people that can run after the catch and make people miss and things happen. So I think he's going to overplay it. Shanahan will take advantage of that for a few big plays. And then the big difference is Mike McCarthy is going to try to run the ball too much because I think San Fran is good up front. And he's just one of those old school coaches where I have to run the ball even though my advantage is passing because, Ken said.
Oh, wait, is that because you have $150 million tied up between Dak and Zeke? Could that be it? Jerry, what's your take?
Yeah, and not so the hottest take. Tony Pollard is the best running back in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
if this was 4 years ago, nobody is even blinking that Zeke should be just getting fed. He has been a shell of himself since 2018. He had 16 was his breakout rookie year. 17 was just a step down. 18 was a step down. 19, 20, 21, just awful. Not good years. Well, and, another thing that you said, Ken, which I was like, yeah, you know what? I completely forgot. San Francisco's number one corner is Josh Norman, washed up. He was never good. He had one good season, got paid, and then fell down the drain and somehow ended back up on San Francisco. Oh, because he can peanut punch. There you go.
You know what? If I could have a below average corner who, gives up a fair amount of yards, or Josh Norman who gets a couple turnovers but gives up huge touchdowns, I say give me the turnovers, Like at least it creates positive moves for my offense. But no, I don't think Dak Prescott shows up in big games as much as he should, and he's just he's like a good version of Blake Bortles, where he puts up a ton of stats. I mean, what was it?
Follow me. I'll follow you.
1 second. No, the Cardinals game. That's the perfect example. So the only game Dallas has lost in the last month and a half is to the Cardinals. They were getting smoked, like 22-6 or something. Dak Prescott puts up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, but the game was it ends in a field goal, but it was never actually that close. So I just don't trust Dallas in big games. Mike McCarthy, bad decisions, and then Kyle Shanahan. I think he's going to outfox whatever. Was it Dan Quinn? He's shredded Dan Quinn defenses ever since he's been in that division. So I think San Fran is just clean money here. Let's go on to the next game, though. Arizona versus the Rams. You guys are both taking the Cardinals. I have the Rams. So the Pick'em League I've mentioned in the past actually comes down my third place finish, which is kind of disappointing. Comes down to this game. Me and my dad are tied for third place. And
Are you kidding?
That's serious. So I get a phone call from Dad today, and he goes, "All right, I don't want to do this bull crap of we pick all the games and then get lucky." He's like, "What game do you like the most?" I go, "I like the Rams to win the most." He goes, "I want the Cardinals." I'm like, "Awesome! Look at that, perfect." So rather than picking them all, we send an email to the guy. We're like, "All right, I got Rams, he's got Cardinals, winner take all." So
Connor, me, and my dad are all going to be right. Okay.
To be fair, that's only Ken Call and Connor Lucas being correct.
Now, this I've already alluded to part of this, and I can't remember if we had this take last week, but I'm standing by it. Stafford didn't do anything to sort of, I don't know, have anybody alleviate any stress about him being in the playoffs last week. He still threw, I think he threw one or two more interceptions, I thought, last week. Maybe I'm wrong, but this, like, everyone keeps talking about his fourth quarter QBR. Great, fantastic. Everyone seems to be dismissing the other three quarters. And I said this last week or the week before, just can't do that in the playoffs.
Adding to your point, his pick sixes all come in the first and second quarter, so his team's down by a bunch and playing in garbage time. It's like Dak Prescott.
I got it. And that's what I'm saying. It's like in the playoffs against teams that have as good, the only, like, look across the board. You have no average quarterbacks. And you have above almost no average quarterbacks. Tannehill, okay. But in the playoffs, everyone else has a stud quarterback. You can't give the ball to the other team in any quarter. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth quarter. It doesn't matter. You cannot give the ball to the other team, give them points, and then say, all right, I'm a gunslinger. I'll put us back in the fourth quarter. It just doesn't happen. Dig yourself, it compounds. So this is totally 100% against Matt Stafford here. I just think it's going to catch up to him. And Kyler doesn't seem to make a ton of turnovers, but Kyler just seems to be a little bit of, at least lately, he hasn't been as exciting as what he has been early on in the season. I think that continues. I think the Rams are still going to hold him in check, but this is flat out, can't give the ball away in the playoffs. End of story.
So, Phil Call here. I actually found a few bets, guys. But Wildcard weekend, typically underdogs typically cover. It's somewhere between time. It's between those two because I don't remember.
It's over 55, meaning it's profitable. I got you.
There we go. But Arizona does really well away. In LA though, away or home and away really doesn't mean. LA doesn't have home fans. But really this, and then Cliff Kingsbury just in general does really well as a road underdog. He's covered most of the time.
11-3.
A little bit here. See, thank you. You could have just mentioned those before I started going and not knowing the numbers. But the main thing away from the numbers, Kyler Murray, I just think is a winner. I think Matt Stafford's a loser. Recently, you have not seen Kyler Murray run the ball much. I think they've been in the playoffs. If you remember at one point, but what was their record? Was it one? They have been looking forward to this for a while. Kyler has stopped running. His rush attempts are extremely down. I think it's leave it all on the field now. Playoff time. I don't in the Rams offense, and the Cardinals do really well against the pass. they're not as good against the run, but also Sony Michel's not a good running back. If you guys, the fact that they even played Cam Akers last week is like embarrassing for them. I mean, just save that guy's Achilles, man. So I'm not confident in their run game. I think Arizona defense is really underrated, but at the end of the day, I think that Kyler is just leaves it all on the field. You get a lot of rushes from him, and you just see him take over the game like he did at the beginning of the year.
All right, so I'm just going to shoot down some of your guys' arguments real quick. Connor.
Come on, Phil.
Connor,
come on.
You said you can't get behind big in games in the playoffs, right?
Line him up. Line him up, Phil. Come on.
All right, Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl, and I think he was down by at least 10 points in every game, and in a couple games he was down by 20-plus points, and he came back and he won every one. I know. Okay, that's a joke. That's a joke, mostly because it's probably one of the best offenses we've ever seen in the history of the NFL.
You took my own counter argument.
No, okay. When you were saying the stats, I'm like, all I could think is Mahomes coming back over and over again. I thought that was hilarious. But you guys say Stafford is not good in the playoffs. All right, so he hasn't been in the playoffs, and
exactly.
Now just wait. He beat maybe the best team in the NFL he almost beat the best team in the NFL to not make a Super Bowl in like the last 20 years. And that's the Dallas Cowboys with the Dez Bryant caught it year. So I don't
think you bring up Dez Bryant shows you how irrelevant this argument.
Just wait. Stafford was winning that game, and I don't know if you guys remember, but he had a receiver. It was as bad as the Saints Rams game. He literally threw the ball to his receiver, and his receiver got tackled before the ball got there, but they didn't call a DPI. Otherwise, the Lions win the game, and then no one even cares that Dez caught it. But
stop bringing up 2014.
All right, my point is that's all the data we have on Matt Stafford. Okay. So
we're doing a coin flip. You're doing a coin flip for your pick, is what you're saying.
No, all right. So now the real reason I like the Rams, I just thought those were two funny examples to just counteract the things you say that don't make any sense. That's why I'll give to you some stats nerd stuff is ridiculous. But more importantly, the Cardinals aren't good at football right now. So I just got done bashing the Cowboys and saying I don't think they're very good, and the Cardinals were blowing them out. And the Cardinals' offense has been atrocious recently. I think they haven't put up more than 20 points in a game in the last 6 or 7, and they haven't played very good defenses. Also, in the last matchup against the Rams, Aaron Donald completely wrecked everything the Cardinals wanted to do, and now they don't have DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think they're going to be able to protect Kyler. He's going to be running around for his life, and I don't think any receivers are going to get open.
That's a great point.
This is all 100% nothing to do with Matt Stafford. I think the Rams defense is that much better than the Cardinals offense currently.
Do you know what trumps all of that? If you give the team the ball. That's all. That's it. That's it. If you give the ball to the Cardinals, they're bound to get points.
And I'm over here just believing in Matt Stafford to turn the ball over, but not throw a pick six. I think the Cardinals are going to settle for some field goals, and Cooper Kupp is going to shred the pass defense. If JJ Watt was healthy, I would flip my pick because I think it would be like a defensive struggle. But I'm 100% relying on Cooper Kupp to be enough and OBJ to make 1 or 2 big plays. This is nothing to do. No credit to the Rams offense. I know I was goofing around about Stafford earlier, but dead serious. I think he is good enough to not completely blow this game. And yes, he did blow last week against San Fran, but I also think Arizona's offense is in a worse state than San Fran's. I'm really low on Arizona offense right now. That's all where I am. They cannot score in the red zone since DeAndre Hopkins left. If they're settling for, I'm all against teams counting by 3 when the other one can count by 7. Arizona's going to be kicking field goals. The Rams, when they get in the red zone, will score touchdowns. That's it. I understand. I just, like I said, I am extremely low on the Cardinals right now. Let's see.
That's fair. I'm relatively low on the Cardinals. Ron Matz.
I understand why. There's a lot of just kind of optimism that the defense is good enough to make up for his poor play. Also, Cardinals are 1-4 in their last 5 games, and they lost.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that it's more of me hoping that they snap out of it. Cliff Kingsbury is a wild card. He worries me, and the fact that Cooper Kupp could just wreck this.
So
The only thing that I'm worried about.
yes, Arizona does not cover the slot well. I am worried about that. But I really think that after they were doing super well, Kyler got hurt. They held it back. I think Kyler, James Conner, they're going to rush the ball like 35, 40 times. I don't think that the Rams are going to be able to stop that. And I don't, not that offense is going to go. I just don't think that the Rams can keep. That's what I think. Also, I'm really just betting on the.
I was going to say, underdog covers, games are typically closer. I actually have 3 underdogs picked this week, so I agree with you in that sense. But I think this is the one. It's going to be Monday night. It's going to be a standalone game, and LA is going to be like, we're just bigger and better, and then they're going to go get smacked by whoever they play next week. All right, let's go on to our next game, though. New England versus Buffalo. Connor and I going head-to-head here. Actually, it could be the tiebreaker for the year to see who reigns supreme. We're both at 5-5 right now. I have Patriots +4. Connor has Buffalo -4. Why are you going with Buffalo?
I think they got embarrassed at home last time they played in frigid weather, and I just don't think this is me. My hot take that Belichick I still believe he made that stupid decision not to pass with Mac Jones last time in cold weather. I looked at the weather this time. Last time I picked the over, and then didn't look at the weather
Hurricane
at all.
Sandy came blowing through.
And then Blizzard Buster came out of nowhere or whatever. And so I still think Mac got a little bit exposed last time they played. They blew him out. I mean, that Bills New England game was not close in last time that they played. So I think Belichick is going to give them fits, but I just think that this is going to be a pissed off Bills. I think that this is a team that when they decided to play back in New England and they blew them out, I mean, it was a blowout. It was not very close, like 33-21, and it was never really that close. Looking at Mac's stats now, Mac had 145 and 2 picks. I think he may get a little bit better. He might have a repeat, he might have a repeat performance here. I'm betting that Mac kind of goes in and all this stuff about, he's Tom Brady, and look at Tom Brady's stats from then. Look at Tom Brady's stats when he was, a rookie or whatever. He's not Tom Brady. Okay, he's just not. And I think this is the time where Josh Allen says, hey, hitting aside for us to break out. I think I'm high on the Bills right now. Oh, also, they decided that they would get a running game all of a sudden. Notice that. All of a sudden, they decided they want to have more balance, and Devin Singletary is the guy, and we're not drafting a running back next year. I don't know. They're more balanced now than they have been. I think they're peaking. So 4 is a lot of points. I would much rather see this at 3, but still think I'm pretty bullish.
All right. So I think we agree in terms of kind of coming into the game, our thoughts on the teams. However, you brought up you think Mac Jones is going to choke it. I think Josh Allen is going to make a couple mistakes. I still think Buffalo wins. I know 4 points is not a lot of wiggle room, but I think that Bill Belichick is going to pound with Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, and then Josh Allen is going to do something like throw a couple interceptions in the first half. I know we said you can't do that and then win, but you're playing the Patriots and Mac Jones, who is terrible, and I think the Patriots are going to do everything they can to keep the ball out of his hands, because when they put it in his hands, it doesn't work. Like, you can't rely on him.
Now, here's the other thing, too, and we always talk about this. Why are we not loading the box? Truthfully, why would we not load the box against? Like, you got to play one high, drop a safety in, You got to stop the run. Make Mac Jones beat.
I mean, that's what the Bills tried to do. Well, so in the Bills' defense, the rainstorm game that they lost, I think the Patriots had like 3 or 4 runs that went for like 150, 160 yards. Yeah, and they were loading the box, but when you run the ball 30, 40 times or whatever it was, like if all the blocks are going to line up, they're going to guess the wrong gap or something, and then you're just going to bust out, and hopefully your safety can make a stop. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
But I also think the cold and the wind are going to come into play, and it's going to limit the Bills' ability to push the ball deep. And I don't think Josh Allen, like the problem we see with Mahomes, where if you're playing that shell coverage and you ask him to make 6 or 7 completions on a drive, he's going to struggle with it. So I just think that this game is going to be closer than we expect. I still think the Bills win, but I think the Patriots are going to do everything they can to keep it low scoring and hope that Allen beats himself and that they don't have to trust Mac Jones to win this. Also, it's the Saturday night game, and I really want a good game Saturday night, so I have something good to watch.
QB tackle trap. Hold the guard. Lead with the running back. Have at it. Run him 20 times. Don't care. Leave it all on the field.
Leave it all on the field so I can beat Phil in a head-to-head bet. All right. Let's go on to our next game. Connor, you're taking the Raiders versus Cincinnati. You have the under at 48.5, and the home line, Cincinnati's favored by 5.5 in this one. I wanted to do this, but I was scared that the Bengals are going to go off, and then the Raiders are going to have to play catch up. But also, it's going to be cold and windy, and Derek Carr doesn't do well in that. So that's where I was.
It's going to be cold and windy. Oh, I mean, coldish. It's Cincinnati. It's going to be windy.
Cold relative to a desert like Vegas.
Is it that windy? Really? I didn't think. I saw that it was cold. I didn't see.
Let me hop on. Go ahead. I'll look up the weather.
If you think about it, so they played back in like week 7, and I think I might have even bet the Raiders, and it was a pretty low scoring game, 32-13. So even there, you're looking at still under 48.5. There's 45 points right there. And I don't think the Raiders played that well. Waller's still not as healthy as he could be. I think, part of me wanted to take the Raiders plus 5.5 as well, but I think there are certain things that Bengals are just going to do. I think Raiders are going to end up playing too high. Max Crosby is a monster, and he has something like, he doesn't have like the sacks, but he has something like elite pressures this year, like 100 and some pressures this year. Like a top, 3 or top 4 in the NFL.
Per PFF, he's better than J.J. Watt or T.J. Watt, who's winning Defensive Player of the Year.
And I think the Bengals struggle. Their O-line is by far their worst part of their offense. Not even close. I think the Bengals still win this. I think Burrow is good enough to know when to light it up. Knew he had to light it up against the Chiefs. Knew that he needed to have loads of just like 20, 30-yard plus passes face with. I think that's going to be limited, but I think he's going to be okay with that. He's going to play game manager against the game manager himself, Derek Carr. That's why I think Carr keeps it close. It's also why I think that they keep it under wraps too. 48 is kind of a lot of points. I think they're looking at the most recent game, Raiders, when they put up 35. 35 against the Chargers, and we even talked about it. We texted throughout that game, and we had a ton of scoring up front. And I said in the middle of the game, I texted you guys, don't worry, Derek Carr is going to stall out in the middle of the game. Lo and behold, stalled out in the middle of the game. The end of the third, start of the fourth, he picked it back up. They were up 32 to 16 or something with 4 minutes left.
29-15.
Like, I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to keep it close, and I think it's just kind of a who blinks first. But I think it is going to be a low score.
So for that Raiders-Chargers game, there was there was a couple big plays, right? There was the muffed punt or the fumbled punt that put the Raiders in touchdown position. And then that DPI that was a completely uncatchable ball, but they still called it a DPI. So that's like 14 points handed to the Raiders.
Getting that 3rd and 23 draw again. the most utterly embarrassing play probably of the year. Raiders gave up. They were going to halftime. They're like, nah, just kidding. Here's 23 and a half yards on a 3rd and 23 draw.
I think those things just won't continue to happen. That was kind of a perfect storm. How the Raiders kept it close. I'm taking the pick one or the other because Bengals still lost to the Jets. I'm still pretty sore about that.
Yeah, I also think Zach Taylor showed that he loves to be conservative and not put the ball in Joe Burrow's hand early in the year. And in the playoffs, I'm guessing he's not going to dial up the aggressiveness. I think he'll go back to, if they have, a 10-point lead, like 17-7 or something, then it's just going to be feeding Joe Mixon trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
So got another good stat for you, Phil. You're not the only one that can find these things. So
crazy what Google can do.
Really, yeah. But 66% of the time, the team with their strength of schedule in the wild card playoff weekend wins or covers. But because of that, the Raiders have had one of the toughest strength schedules. They're the underdog. I completely on the under. But the Raiders, they always just keep it close. But it's the Bengals' rush defense is better part of their defense. Raiders, they really go as far as Josh Jacobs takes them. Also, the Raiders play zone defense more than any other team in the league. And Jamar Chase completely destroys man defense. So I really think that the main thing is they're not going to let Jamar Chase take the top off of anything. If he's going to get an 80-yard touchdown, it's going to be that slant that he takes, yard, which you always can do. But I don't think that's going to happen. The Raiders do not give up big plays. For that, I do not think that they're going to go over. I was really close on taking the Raiders with the points, but man, I can't do that. We've been trashing the Raiders for weeks, and since then they haven't lost. So,
correction. We've said they keep games close. They have kept games close. They don't necessarily win, but they do keep them close. We were trashing them early in the year when we were like, well, everything just blew up in everyone's face in Las Vegas. Ruggs gone, Gruden gone, Derek Carr was mediocre, Josh Jacobs was mediocre, Renfro hadn't broken out yet. It was pretty bleak in Las Vegas.
I don't think we're making a big enough deal about how good their kicker is.
Carlson.
So Carlson, they have been a field goal away from being like a top draft pick team, like every, week after week, he hits that field goal.
He got paid though. They paid him. They signed him up too.
He is 40 for 43 on the year.
Pretty good. Hey, take about half of those away. Plays in a dome. Let's see what happens this week.
Man, if Justin Tucker wasn't in the league, we'd be talking higher about him. All right. Last game we have a pick on. Philly versus Tampa Bay. I'm taking Philly. They're named after me. Pretty simple. But realistically, the weather is terrible I think it's supposed to be raining in Tampa Bay this week. And as the weather gets worse, the better things get for a team with Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders that want to run the ball. And it gets worse for a team with Tom Brady and Gronk who are going to be trying to chuck the ball. So this is an 8.5-point spread. The only reason I'm taking it is because it's an 8.5-point spread and the weather's bad. I think the total has been ticking down throughout the week as it gets more and more likely that they play with the bad weather. But this is nothing to do with anything besides the fact that Philly wants to run the ball, and that eats the clock. It's a high point spread, and it's going to be hard to score points, I think. Of course, Tom Brady could, wait for one dry quarter and then tear it up and make me look like a fool.
What are you talking about? Tom Brady's just going to deflate the balls. You forget about this. Then he's going to act like he never realized what happened. But I don't have any say. I have no say.
It was the temperature change. You know, it happens to your tires, so it's got to happen
You
to
guys
the balls.
know, you guys know that I don't have any say in this. I see the balls before the game. I don't see them until afterward. For all the time in between.
I just play with the balls. I don't look at them.
This is family-friendly show. Jeez Louise.
As I used a derogatory term last week, but it's fine. All right. I have nothing else. Like I said, that's mostly a high spread game, and I think game's gonna be closer than expected. So no other reason there. Lastly, Pittsburgh versus Kansas City, the game that not even Ben Roethlisberger thinks he will win. So I'm tempted to take 13.5 points, but
this screams take Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I'm just telling you, this screams it because this is a game that they should crush them. This is a game that it should end up being the game that we saw 3 weeks ago when Kansas City won 36-10. Well, it should be. But oh man, like Mike Tomlin and Roethlisberger's reverse psychology, Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, like 13 is just humongous. And now, I really want to pick Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
They'll be playing hard for Ben. Mike Tomlin's going to figure it out. Like, they play in the AFC North. Like, you just have a ton of hard-nosed games. Like, even the Browns are, like, angry enough to give a good game. So, I want to take the Steelers in this. I can't.
Yeah, you know, when you want to take the Steelers and you remember they lost 43-6 or something, you're just like, never mind.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys, so here's running joke has been I've taken the over twice, I think, with Steelers because I saw the one game where they put up like 32 points against the Vikings. And I was like, hey, all right, they figured it out. And they followed up with like 16. No, they followed up with a 21-19 win versus the Ravens. All right, well. I guess they're never going to get the over ever again. And then I picked them again. And I think after that, I was like, well, if I'm betting that the Steelers score points, they'll need to score points against Chiefs. I'm going to lose. So I will not bet them.
So interesting. I saw wildcard weekend, 60% of the time the underdogs cover. But that completely flips when the point differential is greater than 10 points. So I guess the argument there is like you're favored by 10 for a reason. It's just that this is a real playoff team. Players do not deserve to be there. And there aren't many teams that just don't deserve to be there. But I really think that the Steelers are a below average team. Also, 2 weeks ago when his last game at Heinz Field, they gave Roethlisberger his big goodbye. He came out and, a little something against the Ravens. I don't even know what to make of that, but I'm sorry. I think that he checks out. I think he gets down. I mean, it could be 14-3, it could be 21-7 by halftime, and I think he out. I really was close to taking the Chiefs on this one, but 12 points is a lot. So I had to pass.
All right, so that covers everything we got going on for this weekend.
Can't wait to see Mason Rudolph, though. Yeah.
Dude, where's Dwayne Haskins, man?
You need Dwayne Haskins.
What the heck? The time that they needed a guy to cover, they picked Mason Rudolph. I mean, I'm not even a huge fan of Haskins anymore, but the guy has a live arm. He can at least wing it across. Like, he might throw 10 picks. He might throw 11 touchdowns. I don't know.
Was Haskins the one? No, it was JT Barrett who led the comeback versus Penn State, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I think that was a whole lot more just saving Haskins because, like, if he looks bad, like, that might be it for him versus, like, we might actually need him next year.
Could be. We're going to trade or draft.
What a philosophy. Our quarterback is going to look so bad that we can't play him because we want to play him next year.
Potential.
So it's funny because there are certain topics that I just this is all right. Let's get this out there, okay? Let's get this out there. Bill, let's hash it out right now.
Oh,
Talk to me
no.
about Staley right now.
No.
I wanna know.
Okay, dead serious. I was going to do that next week because we can do playoff picks this week. I wanted to so bad, but I'm like, no. We got to kill time next week. It's going to be harder to fill that in. So we'll do that next week. It's on the schedule. I got it right here. Don't read what's on there. It's nothing to do with any of this.
Yeah, okay.
No, the only thing on here related to the show is Mahomes' Super Bowl run, so I didn't forget to bring it up. All right, let's go. AFC, NFC winners. I have all the odds listed. Viewers can't see them, and I'm sorry about that, but go to DraftKings and you can pull them up. We'll say them as we make picks and stuff. So you guys want to start with NFC? We'll do AFC, and then we'll pick our Super Bowl winner. And you know what? We will also throw in sneaky underdog pick, a.k.a. it's going to be the Tennessee Titans for me. Just all right. So, Ken, why don't you go first? We've kind of been neglecting you recently. Who do you like to win the NFC?
The NFC? Man,
The obvious answer is Green Bay because, they play one less game, but...
I know. So, unfortunately, the main thing this one is I do not like Tampa Bay. They certainly haven't been the same since Godwin's been out. Fournette's he's hurt. I don't even know what his status is, but they just haven't been the same. They have tons of injuries on the defense. I'll be honest, they were going to be my upset special if they didn't just match up perfectly. Good run defense versus a team that can only run. I don't know. But I do not think that they'll be much of a challenge. Dallas and San Fran are kind of also in the middle there. All I'm getting at is the main one that I like is Green. It's more of there's strong reasons why I don't like other teams. But I don't know. I'm a fan of Aaron Rodgers. For as much of as he talks, and every time he talks, it just gets a little worse. But he's just at the point where he's like, I don't care. I play football, and he doesn't.
Yep. Connor, who are you taking?
Oh man, I just don't know if I want to double down on my Buffalo pick.
This is the NFC winner. You're good. You can save that you can think about that in another minute.
I don't know. Feel good about.
I don't feel good about any of these. I'm with Ken on this.
Yeah, I don't feel good about anyone.
They're all going to end in a tie.
I like Green Bay, but somebody came out. I can't remember who else was watching. It might have been a podcast which I don't listen to. It must have been somebody on the radio or on Twitter or something talking about Green Bay and just the fact that Aaron Rodgers, he owns his division. His division is bad. And Minnesota, Chicago, and Detroit is your division. So sometimes he gets buoyed by he's playing in a terrible division. So he always has huge wins. He always has great stats. Who do I want? I will say
I'm just so glad that I feel like we're all picking the Super Bowl from the AFC. It's like whoever wins that, we just feel like you're a better team.
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even remember who's in which division. Tell me who's in the division. You have these on the left and the right?
No, I'm going to color code them right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the last one. So blue is going to be NFC.
I don't want to bet Tom either. I would say out of that, I don't want to pick the same as Ken either.
Not a reason not to pick Green Bay.
I don't want to bet them because Ken did. Yeah, throw away money.
No, I truthfully, they're the best pick, and I think it is going to be Green. They're going to be healthy. But Aaron gets a chance to feel his pinky toe. Aaron Jones comes back. Yeah, they have a defense this year. I think it is Green Bay.
All right, here we go. I was going to pick Green Bay too, but since we're all moping about picking them, San Fran, baby. Upset special.
I thought you might go there.
I love Kyle Shanahan and their creativity on offense that much. He did blow the Super Bowl, and he did blow, or I guess Jimmy G blew the second Super Bowl. But I think he is an experienced coach. They have enough talent to beat everyone. They're currently hot. I think they're like 7-2 in their last 9. They've beaten some good teams. LA was the other team I was going to go with simply because I think they have enough talent. I know it's Matt Stafford, and it sucks to pick Matt Stafford, but you could see him going on like a Joe Flacco-esque run, couldn't you? Where those interceptions get caught by his receivers by accident.
Dude, I just can't wait to see the greatest matchup against corners versus elite wide receivers. That happens, man. I cannot wait to see Josh Norman versus. That is going to be the matchup of all matches. It's almost as good as if like Jalen Ramsey was going.
I think the Packers destroyed the 49ers this year. Is that right? Did they play or not this year? Might have been last year.
I don't remember.
I just remember it getting hyped up that San Fran can run the ball and then just getting like annihilated. Yeah.
So my only thing with like San Fran is just like,
they're 20-1 to win the Super Bowl, by the way. Like they're a bottom half team in terms of winning the Super Bowl. I'm picking an underdog here.
Yeah.
But
don't get me wrong. I like them, but the only issue is like, you could see them losing to Dallas in the, you know what I mean? Like that's not out of the realm of possibility here.
That's the only reason that I'm like halfway in between on Buffalo. I still think I'm going to pick Buffalo. Okay, you can put that in right there. Put it in. Buffalo going to get there, but I know I'm not super confident in it.
By the way, if I could get an average of whoever wins the Dallas-San Francisco game to win the Super Bowl, I would take that pick as like my underdog sleeper pick.
Dallas?
Like between Dallas and San Fran, if I think they are underrated in terms of how much talent they have, but they all they have major shortcomings. One, San Fran's is its pass defense, Dallas is its coach. So I like them at their odds currently. How about that?
I just think that there's just such a high odds that Dallas is going to blow a game in.
Yeah. I don't believe in San Fran that much either if they play Green Bay, but I hope someone else knocks out Green Bay for them. Actually, are they the 7 seed? I think they have to go to Green Bay no matter what.
Are they the 7? Yeah, they are.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, calling the upset. Second round, your guys' Super Bowl team's gone. Or sorry, your NFC winner's gone. All right, let's go. AFC winner, Ken, who do you have?
Can I do? Because I'm between two teams, and I'll tell you, a lot of it's more like the story. But I really like Tennessee. I just want to see Derrick Henry come back. AJ Brown. We talked about my, no reason to love Julio Jones anymore, but I still do. Like, I want to see them do well, but realistically, it's not going to happen. It's the Chiefs. But, man, the Titans are probably my favorite pick to win the Super Bowl.
At their odds, yeah, like I said earlier with my surprise pick. So I'm just going to keep going. So New England is a team. The problem is New England won't beat Tennessee. Like, I'm just looking like at San Fran and Dallas, who had, the loads of talent to make something happen. In the AFC, I just don't see much outside of Kansas City and Buffalo. Tennessee, I give them the credit because they get a bye week. But like the Raiders, they can't keep up. We saw them get blown out by like 100 to the Chiefs. The Patriots, they're good, but the second Mac Jones has to throw a football, the game's over. And Cincinnati, their defense has played over its head, and they don't have an offensive line. So I think against better competition with good offenses, I don't think they can win 3 straight. So I'm picking Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC. But I think if I had to pick an underdog, right now the fact that the Titans have worse odds than the Bills blows my mind. Like, that is how much confidence that the Bills have in winning in week 1, let alone the next 2 games that Tennessee also has to win. So you have my sleeper pick, the Titans. Ken, I think you were the same way.
Yeah, no, I really like the Titans, but that's just, I liked them before the season. I liked them when they even doing bad. All in on the Titans.
Connor, do you have any sneaky underdog listed here?
Yeah, give me the Bengals. Dude, we're gonna party like it's 1991. Okay, they're gonna win a playoff game this year.
If they're in the Super Bowl, I'll take off Monday and we'll have a Super Bowl party.
Boom. Good. So I'm just saying. I'm saying. I think because they can just play to who they're playing. Need to go score 40 points and beat Kansas City Chiefs. They can. I should need to grind out a game versus the Vegas Raiders. They can. Anywhere in between. It's hard to bet on somebody who hasn't won a playoff game since 1991. But man, imagine how my dad's gonna look when he used to work for the Bengals and he around in the 80s when they were good. He'll be interested. So maybe this is more heartfelt hope. Just want to get that monkey off the back, and then Joe Burrow can basically never make it to the playoffs the rest of his entire career, but he'll be able to say, "We got the first playoff win." Fun.
Do you see who was it? David Carr talking up his brother that if the Raiders or when the Raiders win the Super Bowl, Derek Carr will be named MVP, like the best player ever for what he did for this team. Losing Gruden, losing Henry Ruggs, and I'm just like, okay, that's gibberish. Tom Brady exists.
What a pipe dream! What a good pipe dream.
That's a good brother,
So Derek Carr's gonna grow up to be Joe Flacco.
All right, so let's pick our Super Bowl. I have San Fran versus Kansas City. Kansas City would win this rematch, but for sake of, shows and clicks, San Fran, baby. Upset special. Kyle Shanahan gets revenge all the way. The Chiefs aren't as good as they were in that first match. And I think Kyle Shanahan doesn't continue to blow Super Bowls left and right. What's he, 0-2? Both his fault, in my opinion. So, Connor, Green Bay versus Buffalo. This would be a great game to watch, by the way. I would absolutely love that game. It's like you knew this was coming and you still didn't have a pick.
No.
Ken, do you have something?
I'm in Connor's boat.
That would be a game that I would like to see. I would like to see that. Because I think that Buffalo would pay to score. And not play, well, let's take a 7-minute drive here and do a bunch of hand signals, look around, and then run the ball with Dylan, and then run the ball with Jones, and then all of a sudden 50-yard pass with Devontae, then run the ball 10 times. But I think this is Green Bay's year. I think a hot take is I think somehow they're going to win it this year. And I also think that they're going to make love. They're going to make up. Aaron Rodgers is going to make up with Green Bay. Devontae Adams is going to make up with Green Bay. I think they're both going to say, we just won a Super Bowl. I'm going to stay.
Did you see that Aaron Rodgers said he might retire if he wins the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but that's also Aaron Rodgers. I feel like his Hollywood side coming out saying, yeah, well, I think no. He's the Instagram model that wants to be asked to the prom. That's what he wants. He wants to be asked and begged and just the whole town turning over for him to say, please, Aaron, you're God. Come back to Green Bay, please. He says, okay, you're right. I will.
It's not like his predecessor did that exact same thing.
But more important than that, not just Green Bay saying we want you back. It's going to be Jeopardy saying we don't want you. Oh,
yeah.
And then he'll be back. But so my whole thing is the Chiefs have not looked like the same. Not even close. Teams are starting to, stop Mahomes. Turns out he throws a great deep ball, and that, cover two is really, hard for been working against him, except for it hasn't, because his team has been winning nonstop. Like they're still winning, and the big thing is the defense finally looks like a real not just a real defense, top 10 defense to go with Mahomes. So you have a good defense, and I don't want to get into it too much, but CH isn't playing, which is really good for that offense.
Phil, crush him. Crush him right now with the top 10 defense play. Phil was on this from the beginning about how it's a mirage. Their combined winning streak when they were really good, they got exposed last week in Cincinnati. Get him, Phil. Get him, Phil.
So exposed in Cincinnati. Burrow's really good. I'm not going to take anything away from Burrow on that one. But my whole point is, before, they've never even had a defense. Their defense has been a joke for the last few years. All that team needs is Pat Mahomes to play like a superstar, and I think Pat Mahomes is a superstar. That's it. End of story. Not that their defense is great, but it's certainly, average at least. I think it's easily top 10 to top 15.
Here's the teams they held underneath 20 points. Washington, New York, Green Bay with Jordan Love, the Raiders, the Cowboys, when that was actually a good one.
Two playoff teams, man. Pretty good.
the Packers with Jordan Love.
Were a Super Bowl contender.
Huh?
Steelers. I know they killed the
Raiders.
Steelers.
Oh,
the Steelers.
Steelers, Raiders. So you just named 4 playoff teams.
Teams that we didn't even consider as Super Bowl upset. Oh, and also, Drew Lock just picked them apart, and they put up 24 points.
Yeah, they didn't play that game.
They needed to. Well, they quote-unquote needed to. Yeah, I am against Chiefs having a real defense, but the one thing they do have is a really good pass rush, and that's because of Melvin Ingram. They actually have Chris Jones and Melvin Ingram. They can get pressure. That's actually why they beat the Broncos. They needed a 90-yard fumble return for a touchdown to beat the Broncos.
Yeah.
They also didn't need to beat the Broncos.
Okay, hindsight's 2020, but the Houston Texans almost proved that wrong. So are you picking the Chiefs to win it all?
I'm picking the Chiefs to win it all.
Yeah, it's vanilla.
All right, we got all different. We got all different choices.
Yeah. Well, I was out here. I decided to go out on a limb because you guys were being boring, talking about Green Bay and Kansas City, and I'm like, you know what? I still have Kansas City winning the AFC. But San Fran, man, I have a crush on Kyle Shanahan. It's a real problem.
You do.
Yeah,
you do.
It is. Mike Vrabel, though, I also have a crush on him, and I wish the Super Bowl was 49ers versus Titans because no one would love that game.
I told you, man. I told you. I said the whole year, Vrabel is a fantastic coach. He just plays up and down to his competition. And I think he could make a run here because he's going to play up. He knows he's in the playoffs. He gets King Henry back. But I just also see him making just one stupid mistake. And they just open it up and he all of a sudden.
The biggest advantage I think they have is that no one has seen their offense actually play football.
Yeah.
Because A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry haven't been on the field for more than a game or two together. The only time they were, the Cardinals stopped them in week 1, but I don't think that really counts. Speaking of, no one mentioned the Cardinals as an upset to try to make a run. They started out 9-10-0 or something like that. And any opinions on the Cardinals just because we didn't talk about them?
No thoughts on the Cardinals.
They're gonna cover it. They're gonna cover the first game and then disappear.
Covering is not the same as winning.
Go to the next round.
Okay. So you guys actually think they're gonna lose? I thought you guys were actually the Cardinals are gonna upset the Rams.
I think there's a chance. You like 4 points though.
That is a lot, especially when things tighten up. Okay.
I don't know, man. I'm not convinced on Kyler yet.
All right, so viewers, you heard it here. The only game that you can actually bet this week is San Fran +3 because we all booked it. They're going to win the Super Bowl. Might as well get those odds while you're at it. Any last words, either of you two? I see you're both giving attention and love to your dog.
Well, I don't really have much else. I think we've been pretty obvious and where we think it's positive. But, hey, I think that we should just win them all, except it's impossible. So I should win them all, and then you will lose and 6-5 against each other and me. So,
actually, I didn't realize we have 2 games going against each other, so we'll probably end up 6-6
after all that.
Yep. Well, I'm so used to only seeing 2 columns in here from me and Connor, and Ken, you being in here is just throwing it all off.
All the winning in my column, I know. But no, really, just in terms of futures bets, even though I picked the Chiefs to win it all, I'm still going to be rooting for the Titans, and that is my favorite pick.
Plus 850. They have worse odds than the Chiefs and the Bills. It doesn't make any sense. They play 1 less game, and they get the best game in the next week. So if there's an upset, like the Raiders somehow win, or not Pittsburgh, that's hilarious. New England, they get the best matchup. I don't get it.
Can't wait for Jimmy Garoppolo to be replaced by Trey Lance.
I can't wait either.
For you.
2 weeks ago, I said the 49ers should be starting Trey Lance in the playoffs. And then I picked him to win the Super Bowl. Future Browns quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is winning Super Bowl MVP. All right. Thanks for listening.